People will steal water. People will pawn water. Water is a commodity here. It is as good as cash. They're sucking it off the bottom, which is now full of arsenic and fecal matter. Our system is so dilapidated and outdated that it can't possibly treat what supply we have. If you turn on your tap and it's white and it smells like chlorine, you know, that's not good. If it's brown, if it's blue, I've seen it all. Water should be clear and odorless. And that's something we don't have here and haven't for a very long time. It's a basic human right to have clean water. And we're in the United States of America.
Attention to safe water recently is Flint, Michigan. How much of the drinking water in the U.S., though, do you think is contaminated? Is this isolated or is this widespread?
Well, we wish it was isolated, but a study that was done by some Harvard University researchers recently found that over 6 million people are served by water systems that have this stuff at levels above what EPA says are safe. And in fact, now it's looking like the EPA numbers are too high, and we should be saying that safe levels are even lower than what EPA originally was saying was okay.
In Health Watch, the Environmental Protection Agency is being urged to take action on toxic chemicals found in some drinking water. The chemicals are known as PFAs, and studies found that these chemicals are more dangerous than previously thought. PFAs are used in anything from carpets and firefighting foam to fast food wrappers.
Dig Deep is working towards construction on a new well here in the Smith Lake community. But the project is moving slowly because it's been hard to find a water source that isn't affected by uranium contamination.
You have the highway right over here. It's less than a mile from what I can see. And then you have people living right next to the highway. There's a contaminated well and people without running water.
Uranium mining is currently banned on the Navajo Nation, but its history still haunts the region. There are over 500 abandoned mine sites with radioactivity levels 10 to 25 times above what is considered to be safe. While much of rural America can rely on backyard watering holes without larger infrastructure, here in the Navajo Nation, decades of uranium mining have contaminated many of these resources.
Yeah, I mean, it is really crazy. And it's not just any highway. It's like Route 66, right? It's the lifeline of America. It's the most American, patriotic highway. And here are these Americans, a lot of them veterans, a lot of them normal people like you and me that live, you know, in these incredible conditions.
There you see. Right now we are under a boil advisory, but boiling your water makes the lead worse. So if you boil the water to get the bacteria out, then you're making the lead content worse. So you really don't know what to do.
We had all kinds of clean water until they started mining it. The water used to run underneath through the mines and all that. It used to be clean, but when they started mining it, I don't know how they did it, but that's when the water started being contaminated with all that dirt and the uranium. We used to haul our water in. I used to get it out of this windmill just right here. But there's a sign they put up on it. It says it's contaminated, so that's when I stopped.
Probably the last year and a half is when we noticed the health issues. We would seem to always, one of us, have either the upset stomach or throwing up, and the bacteria found in my stomach, the H. pylori, which makes me nauseated and painful in my stomach and vomiting. Then with Blake, I guess a year ago, with a cough he couldn't get rid of, and every month going to the doctor with bronchitis or a respiratory infection. My house, the bacteria in the water, less than 1 is safe, and mine was 15 times higher.
Was this around the time you got sick?
Yes. I was sick in December before this.
That was when you were in the hospital?
Yeah,
for a
that's
month?
when I had bacterial meningitis. And then in September of 2017 is when I was diagnosed with the H. pylori.
The lack of infrastructure doesn't just affect families on the reservation, but also the potential for businesses. The Navajo Nation has a 70% unemployment rate because of limited jobs and economic opportunities. Many people leave to survive.
Actually, the reason I know Benjamin so well is because as we've been working on this project, he called a few months ago and said, hey, you know, there's some families that have moved into this part of town and they're drinking water out of this old windmill. You know, I see them marching down there every morning to get their water, and you know, I used to drink out of that, but I know it's dirty, so can you go down there and place a sign because the water they're drinking now is so unsafe?
What should be done to make sure that water is safe?
Well, first of all, we need to make sure we've tested the water because millions of people's water hasn't even been checked for whether this contamination is there. Secondly, we need to start cleaning up our water supplies. And thirdly, start getting rid of the contamination. That means stop using the stuff and cleaning up contamination of our groundwater and surface waters that has these toxic chemicals in it.